Hey everybody, it's Emily at Arc Schooling, and today I'm going to be talking about Build Your Library updates, specifically Level 7. So I thought I would make a video about this because I've seen and I get just so many questions, and I thought having the update schedule would kind of offset some of that. I'll just make a video, and hopefully this will answer questions that people have and kind of give you a little behind the scenes information, that sort of thing. So first, I'm just finished Level 3 update, so that is live as of a couple of days ago when this video goes up, so that's done. So where am I now with updates? In the last year and a half, I would say, I've gotten levels 5 and 6 updated, like complete, like redo everything. Like there are extensive updates in levels 5 and 6. And then I also updated level 0 because there's a lot of out-of-print books. The out-of-print books became a huge issue during the pandemic. Like, I don't even know, so many books went out of print or became really hard to find. And so I was like, it's probably a good time to revisit each level and see what needs updating and what I can fix, and sort of bring it into 2021, if you will. So I did that with level 0, and then I did level 1 and 2, which replaced the history, Story of the World with History Quest. Those were medium updates, I would say. The history portion was probably the most extensive for each of those, because I had to revamp the whole level when the history doesn't line up the same in Story of the World and History Quest. So it required me to kind of move things around and put the puzzle back together. But it wasn't like every part of the level was getting changed. It was just, the history and then moving some of the books around. And I added a few new titles because there's just always new books that I get excited about. So I did that for levels 1 and 2. And then I just finished level 3, which was meant to be a more minor update, but it ended up getting a little bit more deeper than that when I realized that the science needed a huge update, because the book I used for a huge part of the science was out of print. So the science was probably the biggest update in that level, because the history didn't really change. I just added a few different titles. I added some new literature, again, books that I'd just been excited to add in somewhere, and I found a home in level 3. So when I was starting the updates, I didn't think it was going to be quite this intensive, but I just, there's just so much that I want to change and update. And so it's a lot more of a process than I anticipated. I thought I could burn through all the levels in like a year, and that's not going to happen. Obviously, I'm only up to level 3 at this point. So when I sat down and evaluated, I decided I needed to focus on level 7 right now, because I know a lot of people were expecting that to be done by the end of the summer, and the science in level 7 was what the big update was going to be. But when I started looking at the book list and just checking on each title, there was a lot more out of print titles than I realized, and that sent me down like a panic trail of what am I going to do? How will I replace this? Is there even a title that's similar? And it was a whole thing. Okay, on top of all of that, this summer, let's say this year in general, I'd say my 2021 has been a lot harder than my 2020, which may not be the same for most people, but for me, it's been a rough year. I'm not going to go into detail, but it's just, there's been a lot on my plate this year, and I feel a little overwhelmed at the moment. And just to give you a little peek into that, in the next 3 weeks, I have a 2-week visit from my in-laws who are coming in from Florida. And then as soon as the same day that they leave, my father comes into town for a week. We haven't seen any of the grandparents since 2019. So it's overdue, but it's all at once. And then the day after my father leaves, I have to pack everything up, and we're going to take my 2 oldest to college, where they're going to live for the next several months. So I have a lot going on. On top of that, there's been oral surgery, and it's a lot. A lot of people have been asking me, can they get a book list for level 7? And my answer to that is no, because I don't even know what it is yet. I'm in the process of pulling it together, but until I sit down, like, I don't know if I can even explain my process to people, if that would make sense to anyone else's brain. But I don't plan, I plan several titles out, and then I see what fits. And I put it together as I go. So I'm writing the curriculum and writing the level as I plan out the book list. So right now, I'm still in the planning out stages of like collecting all the things. I don't know what the final list is going to be. I have an inkling of an idea. I start to kind of gather like enough things that I can sort of get a big picture of what I think it's going to look like, but I don't know exactly what the book list is going to be, and I can't tell you because I don't want you to go out and buy things that I end up not putting in the level. That's just wasting your money, and I don't want to do that. Even if a title's great, if it's not going to be in the level, you're probably not going to pick it up because it won't be scheduled out for you. So I don't want to tell people exactly what I think the book list is going to be this early, because I don't know what the final cut will look like until like a couple of weeks before I'm finalizing everything. So I usually don't share the updated book list until about a week to 3 weeks tops ahead of the update being released. Because this year has been very chaotic, I ended up having to push back my deadlines. I thought I was going to have level 3 done at the beginning of July, and then that came and went, and so I didn't get it done till almost the end of the month. And that means I hadn't started level 7 yet at all. So beyond the gathering books phase. So I have books, I have gathered my resources, I finished level 3, so now I'm like putting in the effort to really intensively work on level 7. All that to say, like I said, I have 3 weeks coming up of just complete and utter chaos with family visiting, and I'm going to be expected to go and do things. I've already been making promises to people that I would take a day or 2 off so I could go and visit and do the thing. On top of all of that, I feel like I'm going to need a break after this level. So probably when I finish the level 7 update, I'm going to take a month at least to just do nothing and let my brain take a break because I feel like I have been like powering through for months nonstop, and it's just, I'm a little tired. We always talk about burnout for a homeschooling mom, but I'm getting that right now in the depths of summer, which is always my busiest time of year. I'm going to need a break. So I'm going to say tentatively that the level 4 update probably won't be around until after Christmas. That's just my hunch from what I think my update schedule is going to look like. And then I'll go to 8 after that, and so on. So it's a lot longer than I anticipate. I also want to reiterate here something that I think a lot of people forget is that Build Your Library, I don't have a team of people doing things for me. It's me and my husband. And sometimes my older kids help out with little things like making bookmarks, or like sometimes Sarah helps me proofread, and sometimes Robbie does a lot of the art stuff for things, or Riley updates my book lists, and things like that. But when it comes to content creation, when it comes to talking to customers, and so customer service and social media and all of those things, it's just me. And I don't mind that usually, but I think people forget that it's just me and get upset when like it takes longer to have something ready. I'm doing the best I can, but it's just me. Doing all the content creation and all of that. So it does take time. It takes more time than I think people think it does. Anyway, all of that to say, I wanted to show a couple of the titles that I have in my level 7 pile, because I think people would like to kind of get more of a hint at what to expect. Now that I've talked for forever about stuff, let's talk about some of the books. But I have a lot of stuff in my TBR cart. Not everything that's here I'm not going to show you everything because I have a lot of stuff that is probably not going to end up in the level because I'm not going to have time to read everything, so I'm going to be doing a lot of skimming, and if I just don't feel a title within a couple of chapters, I'm not going to finish it, so I'm not going to even consider it for the level. But one of the things that I wanted to consider for the updated level 7 is that one, the atlas that I use in that level for like the main text is really old. I think it's from like 2006, and they've never done an update, which I don't know why. So I was kind of looking for something to replace that. And I just did a year of geography with my youngest, who's 12, so around the age for level 7. And so a lot of these are things that we used, and I thought, well, this would be a good resource, or things that I found later that I thought would make an interesting change. The other thing I wanted to update is the Material World and Hungry Planet books. I mean, I think they're both amazing resources, but they are really outdated, and I wish they could do an updated version. I understand why they haven't done an update. Like, I was just telling my husband, can you even imagine if they came to us and said, hey, want to be the family? Can you bring all of your material goods and possessions out on your front porch or your front yard? There's no way. We just have too much stuff, and I'm wondering, I mean, I know the logistics of that book had to be really a lot. And so I'm just wondering if, like, it's just too much to even try to do something like that now. Especially in the West. I don't know. Anyhow, I have some things here that I thought I would show you guys that will probably be replacements for those books. So, the travel book from Lonely Planet. This is exactly what it sounds like. You get to travel around the world, and it takes you to each country in the world, and it's got like a one-page spread for each country. So lots of interesting facts and tidbits. This will be great for research projects and just kind of getting a feel for each country. So we have that. I have the DK Smithsonian People and Places Visual Encyclopedia. I'm obsessed with these. I love their visual encyclopedias. They're just beautiful. And this one is just, it's gorgeous. Like, I'm obsessed with it. It's beautiful. The photography in this is stunning. And there's just so much great information about people and different places around the world. So, super good resource. Then I also have yet another DK Smithsonian Visual Encyclopedia. This one's geography, but I really like this resource because it's not just like countries and places. I mean, it has that. But this is also like everything from climate and weather to rocks and minerals, the planet. So you get physical geography as well. And again, these are just awesome resources. Gorgeous. And full of really great information. And to kind of go along with the physical geography stuff, I also have this. I don't know if this will make it in the level, but I have it. This is The Wondrous Workings of Planet Earth, Understanding Our World and Its Ecosystems. And this book is, again, just, I love the art in it. It's beautiful. And this, again, would be a great tie-in. So I'm hoping to be able to make use of it. I think it'll fit really nicely in the level. So that's the basic gist of what you can expect the spines to look like. I don't know what else will change for that, but I feel like those 4 books are probably going to fit as my core set of spines. I've already done a video about the zoology, which I'll link. I'm not going to pull all it's the same titles, so I'm not going to pull all of that out. We did that with my youngest this year for science, zoology, and learning about animals and that sort of thing. So I wrote a lot of notes, so I'm hoping I can pull this together. We'll see how it comes together. I'm hoping my notes help me to bring it all together into a coherent curriculum. We'll see, but I'm not going to pull those out because I've already talked about them in another video. I am changing out some of the titles in the literature and the readers. I'm not going to show you everything, but like right now I'm reading Ancestor Approved, Intertribal Stories for Kids. This is a collection of short stories by Indigenous authors, all to do with a powwow. And like, they're not all at the same powwow, but a lot of characters are at the same, so you see a lot of connections in the stories. So, really cool set of stories. I'm really liking this a lot. So this is going to be replacing A Wrinkle in Time. Another book that I realized is out of print and I'm so bummed about is In the Land of the Jaguar. That was like such a perfect resource for learning about the countries of South America, and it's out of print, and I'm sad. So I was reluctant to have to change it because I think that book is spectacular, but if you can't find it, then you're not going to be able to use it. So I haven't been able to find anything that's exactly that, sadly, but I did find this book, which is Trapped: How the World Rescued 33 Miners from 2,000 Feet Below the Chilean Desert. Sounds really interesting. It's got a lot of information about like geography in that area and that sort of thing. So it's set in Chile, so it's not the whole of South America, but we work with what we got. Another book that's out of print that I'm really disappointed about is How to Survive in Antarctica. Again, really cool resource. Sad that it's not available anymore. So I found Shipwreck at the Bottom of the World, The Extraordinary True Story of Shackleton and the Endurance by Jennifer Armstrong. This is nonfiction and it has lots of pictures and information about this expedition and what happened to them. So it sounds like a really great story and a great resource, but I wish the other book was still in print. Another resource that went out of print is 52 Days by Camel. That one's been out of print for a while, and I've been trying to find something similar for ages. And I've given up looking for the specifically same titles, and that is The Elephant Whisperer, My Life with the Herd in the African Wild by Lawrence Anthony. This is the young reader's version of the story, and it just sounds really interesting. So it's like living out in Africa in the wilds and studying elephants, and so science and zoology mixed in with your geography. It sounds like a cool story, so I'm excited to read it and see what I think. I don't know if this book is appropriate age level wise, but I really wanted to read it, and I felt like this gave me an excuse to bump it up my TBR, and that is From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doughty. I read Smoke It's in Your Eyes. Actually, I listened to the audiobook of Smoke It's in Your Eyes, which was fantastic. And so I've been really wanting to get to this. This ties in really well with world geography because it's talking about different cultures around the world and their relationship to death. Is this going to be in the level though? Maybe not, but I'm excited to read through and see how it goes because I'm fascinated. And it's illustrated. There's illustrations, so that leads me to believe this might be like at least young adult. Maybe even, oh, some of the pictures are beautiful. Like, love it. But I don't know if that's going to be in the level. That might not make it in. I don't know. I might save that for level 10 when we come back to world religions again. I have the Night Diary that I've been dying to read for a good 2 years, and I'm finally going to get to pick up because I feel like this would be a good fit for this level. I have While I Was Away by Waka T. Brown, about a girl who's a Japanese American and her parents send her to Japan to visit her grandparents and where she can learn how to be more Japanese. So you get the perspective of an outsider looking in on a culture they technically belong to but don't feel a part of. I have First Light by Rebecca Stead. I read this with my youngest not that long ago because it's set in Greenland, and like we were so excited to find a book set in Greenland to add to her Read Around the World map. And this story is about a boy who's visiting Greenland with his parents for a scientific study. He learns about this group of people who have been living under the glaciers for decades, and so it's really interesting and fun. And I think it might make a good fit in the level, but I don't know yet. I don't know where everything's gonna fit. I have The Bone Sparrow by Zana Frelo, and this is a story about refugees in a refugee camp in Australia. I have Last Gate of the Emperor by Kwame Mbalia, which I pre-ordered. I was so excited about, and this is like a fantasy Ethiopia, so this might be a fun resource to include. Like, so many great books have come out. I stumbled upon this book when I was looking for something on the Polynesian Islands and Oceania and Micronesia, anything from that part of the world, and I just think this sounds like it could be really fun. And this is called One Boy, No Water, I don't know how you say this, Nui Shark Saga, Book 1 by Leahu Parker. And this is a story about a boy who is allergic to water. He grows up in Hawaii, and I don't even know exactly what this is about, but it sounded amazing. Yeah, it takes place in an imaginary location on Oahu in Hawaii, and it's part of a trilogy. I don't know. It just sounded really interesting, and I liked that it was also own voices. Another book I had in my pile for the level is All the Stars Denied by Guadalupe, Garcia, Mccall, and this is YA about the 1930s, a girl who was Mexican American being deported even though she's an American citizen because they were trying to deport anyone who was of Mexican descent at that time. I have The Conch Bearer by Titra, Banerjee, Devrakarooni. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this book before, but the cover caught my eye, and the author also wrote another book that I can't think of the name of, but that I use in level 10, I believe. Is it 10 or 11? I think it's 10. And so I was curious to read something she wrote for middle grade. All I know is that this is set in India and it has to do with Hindu mythology. So I have a lot of titles to go through and see what fits and what doesn't. And I don't know what this is going to look like when it's done, but I'm excited to see how it all comes together. I don't know. That's going to be all for this video today. I feel like I've been talking for hours. I hope this answers people's questions about the updates and about level 7 and when they can expect that. Right now I'm saying tentatively beginning of September, but it could be as late as like mid to late September when all is said and done, because there's still a lot to do in this level and my life is chaos right now. I'm doing the best I can to get everything done in as timely a manner as possible, but bear with me. If you stuck it out this long, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful and that you found it informative. If you have questions about the updates, about level 7, whatever, you can ask them down below in the comments and I will try to answer all of your questions. Thanks for watching and I will see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye.